Kia ora te whānau, it's a bit sunny in here today, eh? Nah, just kidding.
Bruh.
Today we're going to be talking a little bit about mental health. I want to touch on a few things with regards to how we approach this situation. What are the daily consistent things that we can be doing in order to better ourselves, to put ourselves into that right frame of mind, just to make sure that we're humming all the time, and to also have the ability to identify when we're not. So what we'll be looking at today is what's called a mental health continuum. The reason I like to use these kinds of tools is because they really give you a good insight into what things you are doing, what type of person you are consistently, and whether or not you like that kind of person. And if you don't like that kind of person, what are the things that we need to do in order to make sure that we can resonate at a different frequency, we can be buzzing, we can be humming going into the things, because everyone knows that when you are on your A game, it's a lot easier to process everything, right? It's a lot easier to go through your job at work. It's a lot easier to do things that you would otherwise not enjoy, but are super important to the outcome. So the way that this works is we basically just have what's called a continuum, right? It's kind of like a scale, and it shows you where you think you sit on the line in terms of how you feel. So let's draw it up. So hopefully you can see this. Basically, I've got a continuum kind of graph thing here. You've got 0% and you've got 100%, and then I just like to write in the little halfway percentage as well, so you can easily establish where you are on the line. Shout out to Mike Rogers, he actually taught me this, and I found it extremely valuable. I think that tools like these should be used more often, whether it's with sport or even if it's just with business. I think it's a really, really incredible tool that can help you so everyone in your team is functioning at a better level, at the best level of themselves. The way that this works, 100% is the best that you've ever felt, and 0% is the worst you've ever felt, like the hangover plus 10. Excuse me, Mike, if I get any of this wrong, but this is just how I interpreted it when I learned it. And I've added some of my own flair to it as well. Around the 50% mark, we usually try to get people to steer clear from. So I think when I first did this drill, I put like close to that. Maybe I put about 60% or 50 something percent. And the reason I did that was because I felt like I wasn't feeling too bad, but things could be a lot better. Financials, that's always a massive one for people. If your finances are not sorted, man, everything in your life is quite stressful, okay? Because you can't really enjoy every single thing that you're doing because a lot of things require money. Aside from that, that's kind of why I put that around 60%. But when I did this with Mike, he said to stay outside the zone of 40 to 60%. So you couldn't choose a number inside that zone. So once you put down what number you are, so come along, mark yourself on the line and write yourself a percentage, and this can show us what things are happening in your life on a daily basis that may be causing you to feel this way or that way. It's really important to try and find yourself on the line and then identify how long have you felt this 65%? How long have you felt this 35%? And what are the things you're doing on a daily basis? If you're someone that always sits around this 40% or lower mark, then there's obviously some things that you're probably doing every day that are not helping you to get past that mark, to get over this whole 50% and into that 60% and above mark. So the best way you could look at it is like, if I'm that 35% person, what does that person do when they wake up? What does that person do throughout the day? How does that person look at things when they're faced with challenge? We get challenges all day, every day. And because we get that, we have to have some kind of built-in response every time. But that built-in response is actually just a practice action. If I get faced with a challenge and say, I've got to go fill up my car with gas on the way to work. This is probably one of the most annoying things for me, right? It's so annoying. I hate having to go keep getting gas, but you got to do it. Otherwise your car's not going to work. But I know that it's a little bit of a challenge for myself and my partner, because we drive all the way to work and then we go, oh, we made it, or might as well just keep driving, and then we get there and sometimes we'll forget on the way home, and then it's like putting something off. But it's the way you respond to those little issues and those little challenges and the way you interpret them that actually forms the type of person that you are being, all right? If I'm a high functioning, high frequency type person, I'm 70% and above all the time, then that means I take care of the little things really well. If you hop into the car, it's got a full tank of gas and it's clean, changes your entire day, okay? But that doesn't happen unless you identify, I need to clean my car, I gotta make sure there's gas in the car. These little things gotta be taken care of. If I walk into a messy house that's got dishes everywhere and clothes and shit all over the ground, I'm probably not gonna be as uplifted and high frequency as if I walk into the house and it's just really clean. There's nothing better than walking into just a clean place. Every parent can vouch for me on that. So that's why we need to kind of go through this thing. So I know at the moment, for me, myself, I'm about a 70%, okay? So I'm gonna mark myself down on the line at 70%. I'm feeling good, I can interpret things well. My reaction is not always over the top, okay? I like to take on information, process the information, take my time with it, but not overreact straight away. There's no point in doing that, and I've never ever really done that in the past either, okay? Since I've become a man. But anyways, I feel like I'm about a 70%. One, I'm trying to build this thing, right? So that could be better. Two, training's a little bit wavy at the moment, but I put that down to because I'm just a bit busy, okay? And I'm happy with that. And three, I don't really have anything to complain about, let's be honest. Roof over my head, food in my fridge, those are the things that make me happy. The type of person that I react as throughout the day is determined by me taking care of those little things and identifying those little things in my life that I think are important and significant, and making sure that I have a cap on those things. If I don't take care of those little things, looking after my kids, keeping my home clean, keeping my car clean and my mind clean, then everything starts to pile up like sand. Because I do those little things, because I will take time throughout the day to kind of like try and acknowledge these things and make sure that they are put on the same pedestal that I put making money on, I feel like I can resonate at a 70% most of the time. And I feel like that's where I get my true happiness from. Sometimes I am a 35%, but I know exactly who that person is and where they come from. The only times I hit 35%, I'm gonna be open and honest with you now, is when I drink too much alcohol. So, alcohol. Jamie Foxx, predictable, unpredictable. When I drink too much alcohol, the day after is so terrible. This is a cliche, I know it is, because everyone would feel this one way or another, right? But the point of the matter is that I know the day after is going to be terrible. So not too long ago, when I had a bit too much to drink and then the day after was terrible, I was prepared for it, okay? I did the same things that everyone does when they're having one of the worst hangovers ever. They search it up on Google, remedies for hangovers, you know, but I know that that type of person is tired, they're lethargic, they don't do anything all day, they're unproductive. Okay, so the way to turn that around is to do things that the person that sits up here usually does. Okay, and that's why I made that video about morning routine. Morning routine is just a small part of my whole day, but it changes the layout of the rest of the day because I put that little bit more energy into how I begun my day, how I decided to wake up this morning, how I decided to face the hardest things first. All right, and that just allows me to resonate at the 70% most of the time. Some days I don't hit that 70%, and maybe I'll be more of like a 40% or lower on a normal day, without the alcohol, that is. All right, and that usually comes down to me missing the things the day before, the weeks before, and not allowing myself to build those routines or to maintain those routines as I go through. I think if you take anything away from this video today, it would be to be able to identify what things you are doing on a regular basis and whether or not they are keeping you here or they are able to keep you here. All right? And if you are unsure, you can ask, right? I don't have all the answers, I'll be honest with you. I have methods that I utilize, but I'll have some ideas that maybe will get you asking the right questions moving forward. I actually practice this in the gym, okay, with people coming through. If you come through and train with me, don't be surprised if we do this first, all right? Because I think it's so important. It's part of your holistic journey. It's part of your training journey, because you can't do any of this stuff without this being fresh and clean. Yo, if you've made it this far in the video, you might as well drop a young sword down there in the comments below. And if you want to check out any other kind of content just like this, head over to our Instagram page at The Collective Training. You can DM us on there. You can ask us any questions that you have about all this. Peace out.